Welcome to the Rocky Shore, a dynamic ecosystem that covers more than half of the 12,429 kilometres of British coastline. The ever-changing conditions of this environment mean that life here is a constant struggle for survival. The Rocky Shore presents abiotic stresses in the form of two major environmental gradients of wave exposure and immersion. Communities here are structured around the intra- and interspecific competition for resources such as food, shelter, and light, with the threat of predation ever present. The delicate balance of predator-prey relations drive the trophic cascades in the Rocky Shore environment, with predation acting as a management of population, maintaining a stable environment. Today, I'm down at Plymouth's Hoe, looking out at Plymouth's famous sound. I'll be looking at the many Rocky Shore predators from the sessile to highly mobile, and seeing what morphological and physiological adaptations they use to feed.
These scouring marks in the macroalgal biofilm were made by herbivorous grazers from the Patellidae family. The radula of limpets such as these have teeth made of the toughest naturally occurring biological material, adapted for scraping microscopic phytoplankton and organic material off of the rock. During low tide, limpets can be seen returning to their home scars, an area of rock worn away by the limpet's shell. A tight seal can be formed by the limpet's muscular foot, making it difficult for predators to pry it off the rock. Here we see the barnacle Perforatus perforatus, a suspension feeder projecting its cirri out of the operculum. Beating rapidly, the fan-like cirri sift through the water for prey such as limpet larvae brought to them in the current. They constantly change their feeding behaviour from actively sweeping their cirri in slow water current to angling them into the current in faster flow. Similar to limpets, dog whelks use a radula to feed. When hunting barnacles, dog whelks can use their radula to bore into the carapace of the barnacle or to prise them from the surface of the rock. Nucellulapilla shows adaptability when it comes to anti-predator responses. This figure, generated using data from Hughes et al., shows that observed predation of whelks decreased as the whelk size increased. This trend is significant for both shore types, as the Friedman's test produces a p-value of less than 0.001 for both. What's more, predation of whelks on sheltered shore was much lower than on exposed shore. Dog whelk responses to predators are strongly affected by ambient predation pressure. Carcinus manus is an omnivorous generalist feeder with weak claws, lined with small tentacles that favour smaller gastropods. Meanwhile, Cancer are specialist feeders with large, powerful claws that can easily consume hard-shelled prey. Most crabs raise their chellae towards predatory threats and remain motionless, or eventually escape to their burrow if a predator continues to approach. In Lophososimus incisus, larger chellae allow them to handle larger prey. They rely on a crushing attack that breaks the shell of an organism. This Liocarcinus depurata has found some food. The species is heterochelic, the right chellae usually being the crusher and the left one being the cutter. In some crabs, chemical cues are important attractants for locating prey, such as this Mytilus edulis. Sea anemones are opportunistic omnivorous suspension feeders and ambush predators that mainly feed on crustaceans and molluscs. Their role in the benthic ecosystem is key, with their predation regulating populations. The main morphological adaptation of this organism is the tentacles. Used for offense and defense, Anemonia viridis has long tentacles, allowing it to search for food by sweeping the surrounding environment. Once the prey is located, the anemone fires harpoon-like projectiles called nematocysts that release a neurotoxin, incapacitating the target. The tentacles then pull it in for ingestion, as this prawn found out. Invertebrate species appear to dominate the rocky shore, but there is a species higher up the pecking order. Larus argentatus is an opportunistic generalist, doubling as both predator and omnivorous scavenger, with an adaptable diet. Even mobile species such as this crab are on the menu for these avian predators who will dive up to 2 meters in search of a meal. Herring gulls can often be seen in the inter- and subtidal zones, using their excellent eyesight to spot prey, as this juvenile demonstrates.
The Rocky Shore is a habitat upon which a range of prey has led to a diversification of predation types. We have seen grazers predate upon regeneratable parts of an organism, and the patience of ambush predators, just to name a few. This brief glance into the diverse morphological adaptations of just a few species has demonstrated the variable adaptability of predatory marine fauna. However, as we move into the Anthropocene, we are still learning about the future impacts of climate change and the interactions between predator and prey. For example, studies indicate that ocean warming and acidification have led to shell softening in gastropods, leaving the species within a potential exploitable vulnerability. If this becomes commonplace throughout the phylum, a major component of the trophic levels could be lost, as predator-prey equilibrium shifts. Future community assemblages could be very different from what we're used to. Coastal species have spent millions of years adapting to this environment, and now it is up to us to put a stop to the negative effects that humans have had on their ecosystem.